Good morning, everyone. Our dear friend Ghassan has lost his voice and it won't be on this morning, so we need to send good thoughts to him, of course. And we're very lucky today we have Rabbi Leora with us, a shining light in places where there needs to be shining lights. The test for a peacemaker is when things are difficult. And things are difficult right now in the Holy Land. So I thought we could start with just a 2-minute meditation, just to unite our energies and strengthen our own faith that not only is peace possible, but peace is going to happen. So let's just close your eyes for a moment. And place the thought of peace and compassion in your heart, whatever that means to you. Any way you do it is the right way. And breathe peace in and peace out. Peace in and peace out. And now spread that peace and fill the room that you're in with peace. Now fill your village, town, or city, wherever you are, with peace. And finally, spread that peace to cover the whole world. And as we come out of the meditation, just really feel with earnestness, peace is going to happen. Real peace is going to happen. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. So I first met Rabbi Leora years ago, and I remember the first time I saw her, her face was shining. And I thought, who is this person? And then I heard her sing, and it was really her soul singing. So we're very happy and delighted to have you with us today. Rabbi Leora, please.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be with you as always. And as you were saying, I'm speaking to you with a broken heart from the Holy Land. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev said, "Le'en lev shavu kelev shalem." A broken heart is a full heart or a whole heart, but it's still a broken heart after 48 hours of terrible violence on both sides. and young people being killed, and just awful waves of violence and vengeance and violence and vengeance, and to the point where no one knows who started what, and it honestly doesn't matter, in a sense, and with mothers burying their children. And I'm thinking a lot about the feeling of vengeance, because unfortunately, the calls for vengeance are very strong, and unfortunately they also result in real acts of violence. And I've been asking myself, and speaking to other leaders and other educators, what do we do with this feeling of vengeance, which in some ways is a natural feeling that people have felt, for generations and generations. We know that the first murder in Jewish tradition, at least, Cain and Abel, is Cain taking vengeance on his brother for having a better sacrifice. And this feeling that you always have to avenge yourself and avenge your honor is something that is part of who we are, unfortunately. And it's certainly a part of the Jewish tradition. And I can't ignore that. And I need to acknowledge that. And I need to ask what that means. So we could talk about this for a long time, but to kind of just make it a little shorter, I really feel that the only way to get past vengeance is if we can tell a powerful story instead. If we can speak a powerful story of love and forgiveness and compassion without sacrificing protecting ourselves, because we also need to protect ourselves. But if the story we tell is a story of justice and a story of forgiveness and a story of realizing that only peace can replace violence, you will never stop violence with more violence. History has taught us that for thousands of years. You will never stop violence with just more violence. Eventually, you will have to replace it with a different narrative, a different story. And if I can wish anything for the Holy Land in these very difficult days, is that we manage to tell different stories. And I'm not naive. I know that I'm in a minority. But even as a minority, we must speak this truth. Because maybe someone, one person who is on his way to do some sort of act of vengeance will stop and think. And that's not the best we can do, but it's something. And I really feel that this is what we need to be doing at this time, is just, besides, of course, praying. And I love the name of this 10 minutes of peace and compassion, which we all need so badly. But to help us tell a more powerful narrative and story than vengeance. And the only thing more powerful is peace and love. And that's what I wish that we can spread. And it's interesting, in Jewish tradition, in what we call the Hebrew scriptures, the Tanakh, vengeance is quite palpable. It's there in a lot of stories. But the rabbis who lived after that and were writing interpretations, many of them lived not far from where I live here in the Galilee, wrote a different story. They knew that they needed to change that narrative. And so from a tradition that said an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and so on and so forth, they said, no more. No more punishment and vengeance. From now on, if you hurt someone, you will have to pay them, for their medical bills, and pay for their loss of work, and pay them different things, but no more vengeance for what they did. No more death penalty. They said if a Sanhedrin, if a rabbinical court in 70 years kills one person, they're considered a bloodthirsty Sanhedrin, a bloodthirsty court. So no more punishment, no more vengeance. And even more so, they said, who is a hero? Ezehu gibor, hofech son'o le'ohavo, who transforms hatred into love. That is heroism. So with that, I'd like to kind of give us some sort of strength to go through these very difficult days, and to pray for the Holy Land that we manage to make our enemies into beloved people, into loved ones. And since David, you mentioned singing, I'll lead us in a short tefillah. Ose shalom bimomam, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu imu, amen. Ose shalom bimomam, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imu imu, amen. Yehi shalom be'echelech shalva be'armenotayich. 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 Yehi shalom be'echelech shalva be'armenotayich.
Thank you. Thank you. Truly, music is the real expression of the soul. So thank you for that. So one last word just about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a process. It's not a moment. You can say, I forgive you, but the foundation of forgiveness needs to be built in us every day. And so when the crises occur, which they do, we've prepared ourselves to forgive and to look in our own depth and make sure that we're not covering our own pain, our own suffering, but to use our own pain and suffering and understand that that which we perceive as the other is also in the midst of pain and suffering. And out of that comes peace with compassion. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next week, I hope. Love to all. Pray for the Holy Land, please.